So where's the basket?
So you walk in my laundry room, there's like a table, and then there's these little baskets that you can use to move the wet clothes to the dryer.
Dude, I'm sorry. The reason why I didn't fully register is because I was thinking about you walking down the street with a crop top and
Oh, fuck you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And then I was like, oh, that would be fun to film. And then I'm like, oh, but will people get offended since they actually dress like that? And then I was like, we'll figure it out. And then you're like, yeah, so you take the wet clothes. And I'm like, fuck, okay, I need a refresher. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Okay, so I have an idea. I want to run it by you.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Oops, the podcast. Giulio Gallerati, joined by 170 pounds of pure man 1900 calorie protein shakes before bed, muscles bursting through his shoulder blades. Give it up for Ryan Lynch, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Lynch.
How's it going, bro?
Your worst nightmare. What's up, my boy? How you doing?
Doing pretty well. Just got back from a bachelor party in Texas.
Yeah. I saw
from the weekend.
It looked and sounded fun.
It was. We both were out of town.
We both were out of town. Big weekends being had. Thank you to everybody who came out to the DC Comedy Loft and the Punchline in Atlanta. 6 shows, big weekend, a lot of fun. And you know, it's a rewarding amount of work. That's a lot of shows. And I know some people do that amount of shows like regularly, but I've only done that a couple times, and it's definitely a lot, but it feels very rewarding to finish it and sort of get in there and get it done.
That's a lot of shows.
Yeah, so it's definitely fun. And then I had a couple extra days in Atlanta. I was supposed to be like spending some time with some people who I'm working with, and it ended up not really happening. And then I kind of just had a couple days to kill, which is an interesting thing. I guess what we can start with here is the eclipse, perhaps. I don't recall an eclipse being that big of a deal, but maybe it just hasn't happened in this area in a while. Is that what it is?
I think we get an eclipse every single year. It just depends on the path and
right if we're near it or not.
So
right?
At least in New York, we're not going to get an eclipse viewing similar to the one that we had this past one until 2079.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so like but you can travel to go see an eclipse if you choose. Which, to be honest, after seeing, I was in Atlanta, or I was in Macon, Georgia, actually. After seeing an 82%, and I think in New York it was closer to like 90 something, right?
I think it was 90.
Yeah.
On the dot.
If you're living under a rock, basically what this means is the moon crosses in front of the sun in a way where it actually blocks the sun, and there is sort of a period, depending on how much the sun is being covered, of dimness in the middle of the day, or if it's at 100% coverage or whatever, it will actually be dark during the middle of the day.
Total eclipse.
Darkness, which was really cool. And the videos that I saw of that were crazy and awesome. And I kind of wish that I got to see it. I even saw the one from like the baseball game. Mm-hmm. Did you see that? Where it was like the Cleveland Indians Stadium?
Yeah, I saw the time lapse of that.
That was pretty cool. Did they pause the game?
I think they delayed the game.
Oh, cool.
I know the Yankees game got pushed back solely for that.
Oh, cool. And then there were people who flew on a direct flight through the entirety of the path. Did you know that?
I did not
From
know
Austin
that.
to Detroit. There were people who did that. So I was like, oh, that's an interesting thing that was happening. So anyway, I forgot how big of a deal it was. I decided that I was going to go do something fun and national park related that day, forgetting that it had been the eclipse. The only reason I remembered is because as I boarded my flight the day before, they actually gave us the glasses on the flight, and I'm a fucking idiot. I thought that the glasses were like for sleeping because I put them on. I'm like, oh, these are pitch dark. At first I thought they were 3D glasses. She was giving them to these little kids, and I was like, oh, that's fun. Delta's stepping it up. But then she offered them to me. I realized they were not 3D glasses. And I realized they were also not things to help you sleep, whatever, face mask or whatever. Mm-hmm. They were eclipse glasses. So anyway, I drove down 2 hours from Atlanta to this place called I don't know, I may be pronouncing this wrong, the Okmulgee National Historic Park, which have these mounds that were sort of created by an ancient civilization from somewhere between the years 900 and 1500 AD. These native peoples lived here. They constructed these mounds that were sort of the center of their societies, et cetera, et cetera. But people had sort of been around that land for like 15,000 years or something, bro. Or like 17,000 years. Like prehistoric, like people were hunting woolly mammoths on this land. So that's pretty sick. And somehow the fact that it was sort of like this ancient civilization, it sort of heightened the feelings at the eclipse. Because it's like a spiritual thing for people. So it's almost like there was a bunch of fucking pagans gathered to witness this event and sacrifice their children or whatever it was. But there was a bunch of weirdos hanging out. Like there was a dude who built this cardboard box and then he cut a hole in it and put a paper towel like roll thing in it. And when the eclipse was at its peak, it was supposed to completely cover the light. I was like, I guess that's sort of cool. But like I posted that and somebody replied being like, that's not the only thing that'll cover up that hole. So it's pretty funny.
Yeah. The fascination behind it's interesting because you get hyped, everyone gets really excited, and then you're expecting what we saw in those videos to happen wherever you are.
Right.
And then it doesn't happen. Like or at least in New York, for example. Like I walked down to the parking lot at 3:25, which was supposed to be the best time to see it. And if I didn't have social media, I would have been expecting it to be pitch dark outside.
Interesting.
And so I walked down, I used the glasses, I got to see it. It was very cool.
Where did you get the glasses?
My grandmother gave them to me when I was home for Easter. And when I got off my flight, which I flew American Airlines the day before the eclipse, they did not hand out glasses. And all my friends that flew Delta did get glasses.
Wow.
So just keep that in mind.
Lynch is also
when
upset.
You decide your airlines.
He's upset about not having a TV on his flight down to Austin.
Yeah, that was annoying. But Victoria actually went up to Colebrook, New Hampshire, where her family has a cabin, and that was one of the epicenters that was directly on the path of the eclipse. So she FaceTimed me right as the moon eclipsed the sun, and it was pitch dark.
Stop.
At like 3 p.m, something like that. That was an experience.
For like 4 or 5 minutes or something, right?
Something like that. Maybe a little less, but like that's what you hope to see every time you get the alert. Like, this is the last time we're going to see this eclipse until 2176.
Right.
But it was cool to at least see on video it actually happen.
Wait, 2176?
I made that number up. The next time it happens, at least in New York, is 2079.
Got it.
And then we have another one coming next year, but it's not total. I don't understand. It's just cool if you're into it.
I'm into it. I was not previously, and then I went, and I thought it was a lot of fun, and it's something that I would like to experience. Even just when it got a little dim, felt very cool to me. Mm-hmm. It felt like a trip, like some sort of drug-induced trip.
Yeah.
When in reality, it was just the universe. And bro, I can imagine 1,000 years ago, that shit would have bugged you out. You would have thought it was the gods or whatever.
Yeah.
Or however long ago it was where people believed in multiple gods. Like, dude, it's a very cool thing.
Yeah.
And the other thing they say about it is it's supposed to be some sort of opportunity to sort of wipe your slate clean, start anew. And I encourage everybody to do that. It's a nice thing.
Therapist G.
It's a nice thing.
Making a cameo.
It's a nice thing to start anew. Don't sort of drown in the legacy of your failures. Leave them behind you. Look forward. You're a new person. And it can help to have a little bit of lightness there. You know what I mean? Sure, maybe you'll slip right back into your bad habits right away, but maybe you won't. You know what I mean? What's to stop you from doing what you want to do now? So go ahead and get out there and do it. But dude, yeah. So I thought it was very cool to get to go down there. And I had a lot of sort of bad luck though. I started the new me with my car breaking down.
I saw that.
My car just wasn't turning on. And I'm like, fuck, like I'm looking around the car, see if there's something I could have done. I look at the lights, they were on auto. I'm like, okay, I didn't do that. But then the USB was plugged into the car. And Hillary has always said, and I believe this is a wives' tale, but it may not be. She's like, I've heard that if you leave that plugged in, it will drain your battery of your car. And I was like, whatever. And forever, I've always done that. And maybe I looked at it this time and I was like, maybe this is finally the time where, So anyway, I called the rental company, and guys, if your rental car breaks down in an inconvenient location, it can really screw your shit up. Okay, so if the AAA people who Hertz was sending, which by the way, you don't have to pay for, which is nice, but it can take a long time. So if the person was to come and jumpstart my car and it works and whatever, then I can just go on with my life. If the car doesn't work, all right, if the car doesn't start, I now need to get towed and ride with the tow truck back to the Atlanta airport where I got the car, because there's no locations open nearby. They called the local Macon Hertz and they didn't have anything. So if you're in the middle of nowhere and your car completely craps out, you're kind of fucked. Like, your plans will be fucked. So my advice to you when you're looking at rental cars, especially if you're in a place where you can pick your own, you should probably try to pick one that doesn't have a ton of mileage. Also try to pick one where the mileage is not the type of mileage that indicates that you will need to get your oil changed soon. Just try to avoid any sort of inconveniences if you plan to drive a long way.
Didn't you get your pick of the litter?
Yes, and I picked a stupid car. I didn't think about any of this because I saw this one car and it was so random and funny. It was a purple, like a shiny purple Toyota Camry with red leather interior. It was the silliest looking car. I was having fun driving it around, and then then this happened. So anyway, I call Hertz. They send AAA to come thing, and they're like, they'll call you. It can take up to 90 minutes, but like hopefully they'll be there sooner. And then that's it. They'll call you. Great. I'm sitting around for a while. I'm thinking about asking someone to give me a jump, but I'm just kind of feeling shy and like stupid, like I don't know what I'm doing or something. And these people seem sort of like handier than me, so I was just kind of like. So I was like, hopefully the AAA guy will just come. And also, like, if there's something wrong with this car, like I want to switch the car, like whatever. And plus, when your battery dies, they say you should leave the car on for half an hour before you drive off, which I think I mentioned, so that it doesn't die. I don't know, whatever. So I realized that the park's about to close. And once the park closes, nobody will be able to get in, and I won't be able to get out. So I'm like, this sucks. So I go inside and I start talking to the ladies, and they are sort of like, I don't really know what to tell you. They're like, we'll call law enforcement and see. I'm sure the law enforcement, they kept saying law enforcement. I'm like, lady, it's a park ranger. This is law enforcement. So anyway, she's like, I'm sure they'll let him in, whatever. So I end up flagging one of those guys down, one of the troopers or the park rangers. And I was like, I explained the situation. He's like, do you need a jump? And I was like, I don't know. I think so. He goes, all right, well, I'll go get jumper cables and I'll come back. Do you know how to jump a car?
No, I was going to ask you too.
Okay.
I would be shy as well because they would know what to do. I wouldn't know what to do on my end because you need two people to jump a car.
You need two cars to jump a car.
And two people.
You don't need two people.
You can do it with one person?
You can do it with one person. You might be right. See, this is...
Glad it wasn't you and me.
So this is the thing. I do know how to do it, but it would take me a tiny bit of like remembering, which would embarrass me with a stranger. Mm-hmm. But if it was with my boy, I could 100. I've done it before. I can 100% do it. So anyway, like you connect the jumper cables to from the car that's on, and you connect it to your car. There's colors that have to line up. I sort of forgot which one went with what.
But you could figure that out on your own?
Yeah. I'd be able to I've done it before and I know how to do it, but there's a chance I would do it wrong at first and then I have to do it. You know what I mean?
Can't you die if you do it wrong?
I don't think so. I think it just doesn't work if you do it wrong. But again, dude, so see all of these things. Like if I absolutely had to, I could do it, but I prefer to do it with somebody who knows. So anyway, the Ranger knew what he was doing. He opens the hood and we go to sort of connect the cables to the car and we realize that the battery is sort of not tightened. Mm-hmm. So we just tighten the battery and the car starts and it's completely fine. Wow. I know.
Did you notice that or did he notice that?
He noticed it. I popped up the hood, but I would not have noticed that.
Interesting.
But then like when I was talking to people later, I'm like, oh yeah, like the battery was just loose, like acting like it was something that I discovered. And everyone's like, oh yeah, loose battery.
Yeah. So AAA, they just didn't come? Do you have to call them?
The guy, well, thank God, the guy had called me right before this all happened, and I called him back and was like, false alarm or whatever. Yeah. And then it was marked as resolved.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. So, that's that.
That's beat, dude.
But yeah, so that kind of sucked. And then I just had a lot of little stuff like that. Like, dude, the gift cards, again, the gift card. So the replacement gift card came in the mail. It was activated and ready to use. I went to use it, declined.
These are gas cards.
These are the all right. So guys,
quick refresher.
If you didn't hear this episode, I got paid in gas cards. It sounds sketchier than it is. It's just like it was an official thing. Like I got paid half in money and half in gas cards for whatever reason that makes sense. I found out later I have to pay taxes on the gas cards. So it's like that's income. So if I can't, and I don't have a car. So in these rare moments where I'm driving, I want to be able to use these gas cards. So I've been having trouble using them. One of them just didn't work. I called. They told me to email. I emailed. They sent me another card. Then they said the card was active. Card was active. I went to try it. Didn't work. Okay. So I call again. They tell me to email again. Then I email the company. I'm like, hey guys, like the company that paid me in gas cards. I'm like, just so you know, like I'm having trouble using these. And this is annoying. But like I'm within my rights to say this. I'm like, you guys paid me in things that don't work, and I'm on the hook to declare these on my taxes, and they don't fucking work. I barely drive, and when I do, I want these to work. And they kind of helped me. They helped me. We ended up like figuring it all out. Like they unfroze the one that didn't work. Then the other one wasn't working, but that was just because it was the station or some bullshit like that, right? They end up all working, but in the meantime, from when they didn't work to when they started working, the people email me back and they're like, "Hey, like sorry, like all we're able to do is like." See the number and ask the company, and from there's nothing we can do. And that really pissed me off because like it's all been resolved. I didn't say anything, but like that's all you can do. No, that's not all you can do, bro. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna come over there, and we'll see. That I don't want you guys to think that that's me saying I'm gonna do something. It's just me coming there.
What does we're gonna see mean to you?
I show up and say, hey, these don't work.
Yeah.
And then they go, oh, sorry, our boss will be here, and they'll know. And I'll say when they're there. And I'll say tomorrow. They'll say tomorrow. And I'll go, okay. And I come back tomorrow. And then the boss is there and the boss goes, I don't know. And I go, okay, well, I'll come back tomorrow.
Let me know when you find out.
That's what me showing up is. Me showing up is me being annoying. And this is another valuable lesson. The key tool in negotiation is patience. You can wear someone down. I said it this weekend to a friend who needed advice with a girl. And well, I didn't say that specific thing. Another good negotiating tool is to be able to walk away from the deal. These are the two keys to success in negotiations. But patience, man, patience. If you are willing to spend the time to get what you deserve, you will get it.
Nice. I like the slogan that you mentioned on behalf of gas cards. Gas cards, they're actually less sketchy than they seem to be.
Yeah, gas cards.
That's the perfect way to
This is not
sell
as
them.
sketchy as it sounds. Yeah, it sounds like a scam, but like it was legit, you know? So anyway, here we are. Did a lot of good national parkage. I went to a couple in Maryland as well because I've been to all the ones in DC. I went to this really cool fort, and then I also went to the Piscataway Park. I forget what the name of the fort was. Maybe Fort Hamilton or something. I should look.
You want to look that up?
Just so everybody can know. But the national parks never disappoint. All three of these were super sick. I had such a great time. Yeah, Fort Washington Park.
Fort Washington.
Which I think brings me to 166. Total.
Yeah. And how many total are there?
429.
Okay, so a little over of a quarter of the way there.
They just added a few recently, including one near my hometown in Connecticut. And Big G wants to come with me. Yeah, Big G's like, let's make a video, man. So that could be a fun thing, making a little vlog with Big G.
That'd be a fun video. That was fun when you went home for your show and the little interview you did with Dad.
That was fun.
Oh my God, I just said interview you did with Dad.
Interview you did with Dad.
Is that weird?
No, it wasn't. But when
me referring to your dad without saying your
his dad, like you're my husband. Dad, Ma, do your guys' parents call your grandparents mom and dad even when it's their father-in-law and mother-in-law? My parents always did it. Do your parents do that?
It's interesting. My dad refers to my mom's parents as their grandparent names, which is a little weird. So my grandfather's name is Alfonso, goes by Al. But my dad...
That's his grandpa name?
That's his real name. That's his short name. No, that's his short name.
Dude, Alfonso being a grandpa name, like that's not his name.
No, his real name is Pop Pop, but his grandchildren call him Alfonso.
What the fuck is the kind of name is Alfonso? Is he like, what is he?
He's Italian.
Oh, is your dad adopted?
No, my mom
Your
was
mom's
adopted.
Okay.
But
Alfonso, that's a great name.
So my dad has known my Pop, whose real name is Alfonso, for over 30 years.
Got it. This is your
and
mom's
my
name.
my dad will call him Pop or Pop, which I think's a little weird.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it, but I definitely don't love it. like they're both adults. It's just kind of weird.
You know what? I'll venture as far to say as I like it.
You like it?
Yeah. Do you want to know why?
Why?
I think it's really endearing when people refer to people as someone else's title for them instead of their title for them. And this is confusing, so I'll give you an example. So say I'm with my brother, okay? But my brother is your uncle.
Okay.
Now I'm talking about my brother to you. And instead of saying my brother, I say your uncle.
Yeah.
You know, your uncle Alessio always said, I think that is like a socially astute thing to do. And I think it applies in the situation of Alfonso Pop Pop.
Okay.
Where him saying, hey, Pop Pop is like means that he has social awareness and skills.
Okay.
In case that makes you feel better about what he's doing and what he's done.
No, I just don't think that he was able to muster up the courage to transition from Mr. Russo to Al. I felt like he needed to bridge the gap by saying Pop Pop.
Interesting. And he never called him dad.
No, never. But yeah, I see what you're saying. That would be like me going to my 1-year-old niece and handing her over to my mom, who goes by Cece as a grandmother. That's her title name as a grandmother. And going up to my 2-year-old niece and be like, hey, you want to see my mom?
Exactly. Dude, exactly. And I don't think that's good.
You have to train yourself,
You
though,
want
to
to go
do
see
that.
Cece? Mm-hmm. Go see Cece.
Oh, your Cece loves you so much.
Yeah.
My mom loves you so much. No, I get what you're saying. It's interesting.
Yeah, no. It's a very interesting thing, young Lynch.
Yeah. But yeah, you got to make a decision. Does that happen right after like marriage, where you transition over and call somebody dad or a different title than you did prior to being married to their son or daughter?
This I don't know, but I will say the following. I was uncomfortable figuring out what to call Hill Dog's parents, and they called me out on it at one point.
Really?
Because I'd be like, you? And her dad called me out, and I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed of it. I'm embarrassed about it. I was embarrassed in the moment. I'm still living in the shame of it.
Yeah. Dude, I get that. I bet a lot of us can agree on that. I'll be at like a party with the Johnsons, and it gets loud because just a ton of people there. Everyone's having a good time, and I need to get Victoria's dad's attention. And I'm embarrassed screaming across the kitchen, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Johnson. But I'm also too shy to say Rich. So sometimes I'll be like, hey, hey. And then I'll like mouth Rich, but like I don't say it, which is like
Dude, that
pussy shit. But like, hey, Rich, hey.
yeah, dude, you just gotta. Now I call her parents now by their names. My dad likes to be called Big G, which is insane, but also hilarious. I think I think we're getting to a place where we're good, but I totally understand, bro.
Yeah. Does Hill Dog call him Big G?
I think so. Yeah,
That's
I think
cool.
She does. Reluctantly, I think she'd prefer to call him something more normal. But she's obviously deferring to his wishes. So Hillary's mom has chosen to be Lolly.
Lolly.
Which is cute. Hillary was really, I've said this before, but Hillary was really pushing hard for Chief for her mom as a grandma name. Dude,
like
Chief for the grandma is
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
One of the funnier things Hillary has thought of, in my opinion.
I think our generation, millennial and Gen Z, we're going to want to adopt a fun nickname that we get to pick that's not traditional compared to
Interesting.
Nana, Gigi.
Papa,
Yeah.
whatever it ends up being.
Yeah. My dad goes by Pop Pop.
Pop?
Yeah. And I don't like that.
You don't like Pop?
I like Pop. I don't like referring.
You like
I don't
Pop.
like holding my niece and being like, hey, do you want to see Pop Pop? Because that's my dad.
What if your dad took on the family tradition and started going by Alfonso? That would be great.
One quick thing. It's really, really cute. My grandfather, he's great. He's so embarrassed by his name, Alfonso. He hates the name Alfonso. He's very bashful about it. If you
So
ever
does he
refer
go
to
by
him
Al?
he goes by Al, and he does not like. He gets red and sad if you call him Alfonso, which I don't do often. But when I was a little kid and I found out his name was Alfonso, I was on the phone with him. I was like, "Your name's Alfonso? That's not a real name." And he goes upset by that.
He was upset?
Yeah. was upset, sad.
And bro, you were a little boy. It's all right.
Yeah, I don't feel that bad about it, but yeah, we can move on.
We need to let go of our shame, guys. I walk around living in shame. I talk about this all the time. But
Retweet.
all the embarrassing shit I've ever done, I'm carrying with me. And I forget somebody who listens to the pod, actually. Her name is Taylor. Shout out to Taylor, who, by the way, had a great art installation in DC the weekend that I was down there. Taylor Sizemore. Check out her stuff. I wasn't able to go because I had shows, but she posted something one time that has stuck with me and has really liberated me. It said something like, true freedom is knowing you're being cringe and continuing to do it.
I like that.
And I was like, wow, that is a good one. And I need that because who fucking gives a shit, dude? Who cares what anybody thinks? Literally, I know that's the biggest cliche in the world, but the next time you're sitting there feeling bad about the time you were stupid or you said something stupid or someone got mad at you or whatever the fuck, tell them to go fuck off.
Yeah.
In your brain.
That's the full quote.
Yeah, what is it? True freedom is had by the individual that, although knowing they're cringe, still chooses to be themselves. This is actually a variation.
Yeah.
But it's the same. It's the same shit.
I've seen some TikToks where you need to get over cringe mountain in order to become famous. So like you being vulnerable and acting or doing your hobby, like in any creative form, people are going to judge you until you make it.
Oh,
and
that's so
not,
true.
And then it's not going to be cringe anymore.
That's so,
but
yeah.
you have to fully commit. And that is cringe until it's not.
Every thought had 0 followers at one point and posted a picture of their ass for no one.
Yeah.
Every single one of them did it at some point. So yeah, don't be, and dude, I mean, look, you and I know I'm saying that I walk around in shame all day long, which is true, but, some people are even worse. Like they're afraid to post, they're afraid to this, they're afraid to that because but fuck those people, dude. Mm-hmm. This is the thing I've learned too. Like I remember one time I got in really good shape. I was in ridiculous shape, dude. And you know what happened? Everyone was telling me I was too skinny. The same people who were giving me shit. And then they would be like, oh, let me guess. You're probably just going to eat a salad. You don't eat it. You know what I mean? So like,
these are mean people.
You're never going to win people over, dude. People are going to hate on you always because if you're living your best life, it shows other people that they're not living their best lives and they don't like that.
Yeah.
Don't let them win.
Yeah.
Don't let them win. Go there and be yourself. Guys, the following ad is brought to you by our new sponsor, Care Of. If you don't know about Care Of, it is a health and wellness company that ships high quality personalized vitamins, supplements, and powders conveniently to your door every month. Me personally, I like a package that includes a nice men's multi, some protein, and then there's a bunch of other stuff where I'm like, oh, like I could probably use that supplement as well, or I've heard that this is good for you, or whatever. It's a nice way to sort of assemble a nice thing of vitamins and supplements that goes beyond what you might think to assemble yourself. That's sort of been the biggest thing that I've noticed. But yeah, Care Of offers a curated set of products that are designed to work with research-backed ingredients and optimal doses. All you need to do to get started is take a short, simple online quiz about your lifestyle and health goals, and Care Of will give you doctor-backed recommendations. It's that easy, and I love that part of it. I love being able to sort of be thorough in a simple way. Bunch of questions, figure out what it is that I potentially need beyond what I think that I need and what I know about, and sort of my knowledge coming together with the knowledge of people who know more about this stuff than I do to decide what I need to be taking to feel better and feel good.
You're taken care of.
There you go.
By
Lynch.
Care Of.
Taken care of by Care Of.
And Care Of has a special offer just for our Oops listeners. For 50% off your first Care Of subscription order, go to takecareof.com and enter code OOPS50 to get 50% off your first Care Of subscription. You heard that right. For 50% off of your first Care Of subscription order, go to takecareof.com and enter code OOPS50. Were you here for the earthquake?
No, were you?
No.
Yeah, we both missed the earthquake.
Yeah, so many people. We were checking into a hotel one night and they asked where we were coming from. And we said Jersey, New York, some from Connecticut. And with such concern, they were like, oh, are you guys okay after the earthquake? That's how we found out about it.
Wow.
I felt bad that I couldn't feel bad about it.
Well, you know what's fucked up?
I don't know.
When they say it like that, it makes it sound like it was worse than it was. I don't really think it did much damage, did it?
My grandparents, I talked to them on the phone. My Alfonso, he said that they lost 2 picture frames. They broke.
Wow, it's crazy.
That's damage.
It's some
There's a
damage.
4.8. We don't get that on the East Coast.
The strongest one we've ever had was 5.2 in 1884.
Really?
I believe you can double check that if you want.
Oh, but that's up there.
But I think that it needs to be at 6 to start doing like serious damage. So I know that like West Coast people were like making fun of us, but we're not used to getting those. I mean, I've felt a kind of slight tremor before, but I've never been in a real earthquake.
The strongest earthquake on the East Coast was a 5.8 in Virginia in 2011.
I was talking about New York and
New York?
the tri-state area. Yeah.
Oh, I got my face. 1884? Yeah, it was a 5.
5.2. This is 5.
Yeah, it says 5.
Cool. So yeah, close to the strongest we've ever had. Dude, have you ever heard of this thing called Great Stone Mountain?
No.
This is in the Atlanta area, and it's pretty cool. It's this giant. It's the biggest piece of granite in the entire world.
Of granite?
Of granite. It's a giant piece of granite, and you can hike up it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. You can hike up it, blah, blah, blah. And I was sort of curious. I'm like, this is such a noteworthy thing. I'm like, why isn't this a national park? And I'm not
beautiful.
Yeah. And the thing I'm about to say, I'm not sure if that's the reason why it is not, but it's controversial. Now there's this sign, and this sign that I read must have something to do with it. But I was very confused by the sign, but I hiked it and had a nice time. This is what the sign says. Notice to the general public, free speech activity allowed within this area is not sponsored, endorsed, approved, or disapproved by Stone Mountain Park. What the fuck does that mean?
Can you read that one more time?
Here, you can read it.
Let me read it out loud one more time. Free speech activity allowed within this area is not sponsored, endorsed, approved, or disapproved by Stone Mountain Park. So that's just a big nothing.
So I'll tell you.
Right?
So let me add this detail, and that makes this interesting because I didn't realize this when I was reading this at the time.
Yeah, why is that sign there?
Okay, so it must mean that there are rallies in some capacity in either direction, because etched into the side of the mountain as sort of like a Mount Rushmore situation is a kind of memorial of Robert E. Lee and the Confederate Army or the Confederacy or something. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's very controversial.
We'll include a picture of this on YouTube.
Maybe don't.
Or at least of the mountain.
But it's an interesting thing. You know, there's this argument about getting rid of statues that sort of commemorate bad things. And it's a very interesting argument. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is a beautiful etching into the mountain.
It's impressive, right? It's like
Yeah.
sort of looks like Greek, like some sort of Greek relief.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I'm surprised that this seems like in an alternate universe, this would be like one of the top 5 places to visit in America. I've never seen or heard of this
right?
before.
Yeah, same. And my friend told me about it. And yeah, I understand why there is controversy about that. And I sort of struggle with what the appropriate way to go about things is. And, you know, a statue theoretically was erected during a different time. Now, I don't know when that was done. You know, I don't think that we should be commemorating that kind of stuff like with new shit. But if something was there from before, I understand the argument for sort of history and remembering or whatever, even if it's like something that was bad. You know what I mean? Like the concentration camps are there as museums, you know, and it's important to remind people that happened and whatever. It may not be the same in the context of a statue, but when did it say that it was?
They started the Confederate monument in 1910 or in the 10s, and it was officially completed in 72.
Oh, 1972.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see why people are upset about that.
Yeah, that one's pretty recent.
It's pretty recent, and I think it's pretty difficult for a lot of people to separate the Confederacy with slavery, which is without a doubt a scar on our nation's history and on the history of the world, without a doubt. So I certainly don't support the idea of commemorating it. I'm sure there are people who would argue, well, it doesn't commemorate it specifically. It commemorates other things. It's not just about slavery, but I don't know. I think it's pretty reasonable to not be able to separate the two.
Yeah.
So no more new Robert E. Lee statues. That is our official stance here on Oops, the podcast. But you can go visit his house in Arlington Cemetery.
Yeah.
That is still there, and it's interesting and cool to visit.
I have to apologize on the podcast.
What did you do
for Tuesday's episode? This past episode, I like to edit the thumbnails with photos that are just, I don't know, just silly. And in retrospect, I feel so bad about it, but I use a photo a little too like silly and it wasn't cool, the photo that I used of you for the thumbnail. And I didn't think anything of it until after you texted me and was like, dude, this is a bad photo, bro.
Well, so, okay, wait.
I'm sorry, because I didn't think anything of it. And then I was like, what is he talking about? And then I went and I looked back and I'm laying in bed with Vic and she's like, dude, that's a bad photo. And I'm sorry.
Dude, it's fine. It wasn't even like, okay, it's one thing if like your expression is bad or like, but I like everything about me just looked terrible in this photo. Like the coloring was weird. I look like jaundiced. My teeth are gray. I just look crazy in this picture. I'm like, it's just Lynch is sabotaging the show, dude. I know you didn't do it on purpose. It's fine.
No, but I just, it was up for, up for hours. There's nothing worse than somebody posting a bad photo of you.
It's not great. It's a bummer for sure.
I'm sorry.
Dude, no, you're fine, bro. It's totally fine. Lynch does a great job here, guys. The occasional bad thumbnail is not going to kill us.
That is a bad photo.
It's not a great one. It's not my best. It's certainly not my best.
Dude, when Victoria and I got back from our trip to Costa Rica, I was going to show my mom and my grandmother photos from the trip, but for whatever reason, like iCloud wasn't working and all the photos were blurry, and it was really annoying because like that was the time that I had to show it to them. And it's not like, my grandma's not tech savvy, so like I can't like text her photos. She's not going to know how to open the thing.
Totally.
So what I ended up doing was uploading my photos from my trip to my grandmother's skylight frame. So when she got home, she was able to see all of them. They're crystal clear. There's a lovely touchscreen, and they can even tap it to give you a little heart as a thank you for just uploading and just including them in your life. And that's the love that Skylight frames to give you and your loved ones.
The Skylight frame is a touchscreen photo frame, like Lynch was saying, that your whole family can upload photos to, and they appear in seconds. You get to share your favorite moments with the people that matter to you. The perfect gift for moms and grandmoms. Like
or Alfonsos.
Or Alfonsos.
Or your Alfonsos.
Or your Alfonsos. Anyone can send the photos to the frame in just seconds via email or app. So it's a great way to keep in touch with friends and family. The Skylight frame has a gorgeous touchscreen and comes in two sizes, the original 10-inch or the newer 15-inch gallery frame. You can swipe through photos with your finger and even tap the heart button to thank the person who sent a photo. And it's 100% satisfaction guaranteed. If you don't like your Skylight, they'll offer you a full refund.
And as a special limited time offer to our listeners, get 15% off your purchase of Skylight frames when you go to skylightframes.com/oops. That's SKYLIGHTFRAME.com/oops. Mother's Day is coming right up, so order today to get 15% off your purchase at skylightframe.com/oops. I won the bet, by the way.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah. I think
what was the bet again?
The
final score is even or odd?
Yeah, and I had even, and it ended even.
Fuck.
Yeah, so we're going to have to...
God damn it. Okay, so I need to paint my nails.
Yeah, and we'll go get a coffee.
What's the coffee?
We just have to walk around for a little bit. So we'll do a coffee
But we
run.
have to do an episode, too.
And then an episode.
Earrings, painted fingernails. What was the last one?
And a belly button. Crop top.
Oh, no. That's terrible. And a crop top.
And a cropped t-shirt. It doesn't need to be a crop top. It just has to be a t-shirt that's showing a little skin between... it can be beneath the belly button, but you got to show a little skin before the belt buckle.
Okay, wait a second. Bro, this I'm looking at it right now. It's odd.
What's the final score?
The final score.
Wasn't the final score 116?
No. The final score is 135. Sorry. It's 135.
The men's championship?
The men's
Purdue?
championship. Yeah. 75-60. That's an odd number, bro.
Damn.
Monday, April 8th.
Damn.
You son of a bitch. Dude, I'm glad I double checked this because otherwise
Oh. What is it? What's the final score?
75-60. Are we so yeah, you had even, I had odd.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude.
Dude, I celebrated that. Just bad math.
As what's his name, Hurley, as the coach's son spiked the ball into the court, you should have been upset because he should have just pulled up for a fun 3.
Yeah, the only way I would have won at that point was with a 3-point play. All right, well, lucky you.
Or a 1-1.
This isn't going to help change my
thumbnails?
reputation of being gay, which I've and that's okay. I'm not saying that in a mean way, but for whatever
That's
reason,
your reputation?
for whatever reason, everybody on the internet thinks I'm gay, and I'm not, and that's okay to be gay, but that's, I'll get earrings and a crop T-shirt,
Nice.
and I'll paint my nails to prove them wrong.
And not only does that make you, that does not make you straight, but also wearing these things does not make you gay. That was the whole point of what's the new trend.
Yes.
That the straight men can now embrace some of these previously too edgy style choices.
Mm-hmm.
Lynch is having a tough fourth quarter here in the pod. Lynch is having a tough fourth quarter.
Great.
Let's read an email here, Lynch, to kind of get you off the hook. And
Okay, then I'm
sort of
going
move
to
on
jump
with our
off of your
lives.
staircase.
Fortunately, I'm on the second floor now, so he will survive.
But I could still permanently hurt myself.
You could hurt yourself, but we encourage you not to, Lynch. We need you. All right, this email is called Unwelcomed Landlord. Hi, guys. I've been an Oops listener from the start. I love you guys. We love you too. Thank you. I was listening to your most recent episode, 502, and your banter about landlords/murderers coming into your apartment unannounced reminded me of something that happened to me a couple years ago. To set a little background, I'm a nurse in Boston, and at the time I was working the night shift. I was living in an apartment with a friend who was a teacher. Our landlord was a little Greek man who was about 100 years old. Anyway, one day I came home from a shift and went to sleep. My roommate was at work. I was in a very deep sleep, and I got woken up by a little noise, but still in that half sleep state. Then I hear my door open. So I slowly turn my head and lock eyes with a man. Jesus. Jesus. He stares at me, then slowly shuts the door. Lynch. As a girl in her 20s, alone and sleeping, safe to say I was shitting my pants. Our favorite email topic is shitting of one's pants. Long story short, it was my landlord trying to fix my radiator. No notice or anything. He didn't say a word, just shut the door and left. Wouldn't you think he'd say a word of apology at least? Like, oops, my bad. Nope, nothing. I also once walked into our basement to do laundry, and he was naked from the waist down, changing his pants.
No.
But that's another story. We'd like to hear that one too, by the way. Safe to say I no longer live there. But anyway, thanks for keeping me entertained all this time. Damn, bro. That's real bad.
That's a peeping Tom.
That's real bad. So our apartment has like that hotel lock now where like you can't unlock it unless you're in the room. So like even if someone had the master key, it wouldn't do anything.
What, the little
we have
turning
the turning
gate?
device. Yeah.
The tiny little gate?
Which is similar to what a chain is supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And I think that the sort of top tier of criminals are able to get around all of these things, but at least your landlord will know not to come in.
Yeah.
But Francis had a similar story. Like he had his landlord in his apartment one night, snooping around in his old apartment. It's a weird thing, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you'd think he would have knocked, but I mean, you did say he's 100. Maybe the guy's losing it. And at the very least, the fact that he's 100 makes it a little less daunting because you could take an 100-year-old. But you're being woken up to your door opening and there's a man. You don't register that it's him right away. It's terrifying. You don't want to go through that. No, fuck that guy.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I'm glad you moved, obviously. And hopefully this guy isn't terrorizing any other tenants if he's still alive.
It's even worse to think that you're alone, only to go down and do some laundry and there's just a naked man.
Yeah, what the fuck? He was changing his pants? Was he doing his laundry in your laundry? Or that may have been the communal laundry. Went in our basement to do laundry. Changing his pants. That one's a little more. At least that was a common area, potentially.
Yeah. You mentioned the communal laundry. I have an idea. I want your thoughts on this. So in my apartment, we have a communal laundry room. There's like 6 laundry machines and 6 dryers. And there's somebody, or there are groups of people in our building that don't go down to remove their laundry from the washer to the dryer, or from the dryer back up. They just leave it down there and let their clothes live there for however long they want. And then it's your responsibility to move it into one of those baskets or onto the table to put your laundry in. And I don't think that's fair. Does that make sense to you? Is that you?
So it's your kind of. It's your responsibility. So where is the basket?
So you walk in my laundry room. There's like a table, and then there's these little baskets that you can use to move the wet clothes to the dryer.
Dude, I'm sorry. The reason why I didn't fully register is because I was thinking about you walking down the street with a crop top and
Oh, fuck you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And then I was like, oh, that would be fun to film. And then I'm like, oh, but will people get offended since they actually dress like that? And I was like, we'll figure it out. And then you're like, yeah, so you take the wet clothes. And I'm like, fuck, okay, I need a refresher. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Okay, so I think that I have an idea. I want to run it by you. So there's people in my building that will just leave their laundry wet in the washing machine or dry in the dryer. And the timer's up. They're supposed to come and get it and bring it back up. And we have an app on our phone that lets us know when our stuff is ready, just in case you don't set an alarm for yourself. Now, there's people that are I'm assuming they're getting cocky, or they're too comfortable, or they don't give a fuck about any of their neighbors, and they leave their stuff in there
It's the worst.
for a long time. And then you have to move it in order to get your clothes in the washer.
If you choose to.
I mean,
I think it's fair game too.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they're all being used and they're unopenable, like, and the only option available, let's say that 5 of the 6 washing machines are already running, and the only one available is filled with wet clothes of a finished cycle, you have to go in and you have to move it to the basket.
Are there 6 machines
Yes.
of both washers and dryers?
Yes.
How many units are in your building?
Maybe there's 12 floors, 6 units, 12 times 6, 48,
Okay.
50
So-
units.
This is what I'll say. It's a less daunting task to move people's stuff when there are that many people, because you probably get away with it. They won't know it was you specifically.
Yeah, but that's not the thought.
So what's the thought?
So my thought is, this is a form of punishment for being lazy like that, because you should come down and you should move your laundry when you know it's done. We all have an app. It lets you know when it's done. It's not courteous to leave your stuff down there, and then for me to have to touch another person's clothes. One, I don't want to be walked in on by you when you're 30 minutes late and I'm holding your underwear, let alone I don't want to touch anyone's clothes that aren't mine, wet or dry.
Agreed.
And that's not cool to just be lazy about that. So
Agreed.
I think that a fair way to get people to be more accountable would be, if you have to move someone's wet laundry or their dry laundry into the basket, you should take one article of clothing and throw it out.
This is so much more extreme than I expected. Okay, so if it's wet, why wouldn't you just put it in the dryer for them? Because then you'd have to pay for them.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
We have to tap and you have to pay for wash and dryer.
So that could be a good way, because to me, my instinct is the opposite. And now look, if there's 50 people in the building, then it's not as, like I said, it's more anonymous. I used to share laundry with 2 other units. Mm-hmm. So if I moved it, it was obvious that I moved it. And sometimes I just didn't want to deal with it. The dude made me uncomfortable. I didn't like him. I didn't want to I'd rather just like not do laundry than like deal with that, which sucks. Mm-hmm. But he was like this, how you're describing. He was lazy and he would forget, and like, it's really fucking inconsiderate. You can't forget. It's we have all agreed to try to make this work. Don't forget. I guess it's what you're saying is fair.
Like, it's just like, that's the only way you're going to get them to do it, because it is anonymous and you can get away with it if no one does anything to punish you.
So this is the only thing though. You'll notice if somebody takes your fucking wet clothes out and puts them in a basket. Like, that's punishment enough. If you steal a sock, they're not going to notice. But they'll notice their wet shit in a basket. Or their clothes on top of the machine. Their dry clothes on top of the machine.
Yeah. Yeah, that is, they'll notice it, but it's these people
What if you piss in their clothes after you take them out?
No, I'd rather them go like a couple weeks and then go to grab their favorite shirt because they're going to have an ice cream party and they can't find it, and then they go insane, and then they accuse their partner of losing it, and then they fight, and then they break up because they were too lazy to change their laundry.
And you took their favorite Ninja Turtle shirt and you torched it.
I put it in the trash. I threw it behind the washing machine. No one's gonna check that. It's gone.
And then someone snitches on you. They're like, I think it was the guy with the painted fingernails and the earrings and the crop top.
He was on the phone with his Alfonso.
He was on the phone with Alfonso.
Yeah.
Very nice, dude. Well, look, man, I like you blazing a trail out here. Just be careful. You're going to catch one in the jaw one of these days, but hopefully, just keep your hands up.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah. It is scary switching out somebody's laundry. Because like that is one of my biggest anxieties. Because sometimes, like,
sucks, dude.
forget the punishment for a moment, because that's a more recent thought. But before thinking of that, like, I'm scared to get caught holding your clothes. Like, I'm sorry, but it's your fault.
It was your fault.
And that's what I came to realize recently. But it's your fault.
Yeah, and like, I also wonder. I'm trying to think if I came down and someone was holding my laundry, I think I'd be apologetic because I'd know that I was wrong, unless it had just ended or something. Because I have the app. Mm-hmm. I get the notifications.
Yeah, and I always wait. If it's when there's a timer and then it goes to 0, and then after about 5 minutes it switches back to like $1.75 as if it's empty. Mm-hmm. That's just how the computer resets. So if it's at 0, I'll wait because give them 5 minutes because it only takes 5 minutes to, that's fair. I'll give them 5 minutes before I start touching it.
Dude, 10's fair.
Yeah. If it was 10,
15, I would say is no longer fair.
Yeah. All I know is when I see 0, that means that within 5 minutes they should probably come down, or I get to do something about it.
Does it work in one cycle? Like if you pay for one cycle, does it completely work?
Yeah.
Dry or two?
Yeah. It's pretty consistent.
We like that.
Yeah. It's good. Let us know if you've had some laundry mishaps. A lot of anxiety, a lot of shame in the laundry room amongst on the streets.
There is indeed. Launder with care and with consideration. I'm Giulio Gallerati. He's Ryan Lynch. We're Oops the Podcast. Check us out at Oops the Podcast. Email us, oopspodcast@gmail.com. Come see me on the road. I'm in Detroit the 3rd and 4th of May. I'm in Boston the 1st of June. I'm in Portland, Oregon the 19th of June. And then Pasadena, California, August 3rd. Come out and check me out. Excited to see you there.
April 26th, Hoboken. I'm still waiting on details. I will get them out as soon as I have them. And yeah, please continue sending us emails. They've been great lately. And we love you guys. We'll talk to you later.